going to be starting this particular video focusing on the areas of special quadrilaterals. Specifically, we're looking at parallelograms, rhombuses, and trapezoids. Let's take a look at the parallelogram first of all. That is this figure here. As you can see, it has two sets of parallel lines. One set would eventually intersect, as you can see here, and the base of this parallelogram is 3.7 centimeters. Now, in order to figure out the area of a parallelogram, it's very similar to the area of a rectangle, where all we're doing is multiplying the base times the height. If you could think about this, if I was able to shift these lines back towards the left and straighten them out, we would have a rectangle. So that is basically why we use the area of a rectangle to form the area of a parallelogram. So now we have a base of 3.7 centimeters, and what we need to do, as usual, is to find the height, and we use it by drawing a perpendicular line in order to form a right angle, and we're going to measure that. And let me go ahead and bring that over, and we measure that, and it is approximately 1.4 centimeters. So I'm going to mark that as 1.4 centimeters. So now we can go ahead and do the calculations. So now we have an area of the base is being 3.7 times the height, which is 1.4. We'll pull out our trusty little calculator and clear out any previous entries. 3.7 times 1.4 will equal 5.18 centimeters squared. That was the parallelogram. Now let's focus on the rhombus. As you can see with the rhombus, it has a base of 1.5. What's particular about a rhombus is that all the sides, all the sides are equal. So all four of these sides are going to be 1.5. But that does not necessarily mean that the height is going to be 1.5. What we have to do then, as usual, is go back and make a perpendicular line in order to create a right angle, and then we're going to measure that height to see what it is. And we've come to determine this height to be about 1.2 centimeters. 1.2 centimeters. Now again, with a parallelogram, or excuse me, with a rhombus, you must need to consider that you have to measure the height of the object there. So now we can go ahead and calculate the area for this particular rhombus here. So the area is going to be equal to 1.2 times 1.5. We'll pull out the calculator again, clear out previous entries. 1.2 times 1.5 equals 1.8. So our area for this rhombus is 1.8 centimeters squared. Let's move on to something a little bit more complicated, and that is the area of a trapezoid. Okay? To get a good idea of an area of a trapezoid, what we're going to do is take a look at an applet and investigate the area of a trapezoid using this applet here. As you can see, this starts out where the height is measured as 7. The base is 13. There's a second base here. That's 8. What is happening here is that they're multiplying the height, which is 7. They're multiplying that by the average of the two bases. 13 plus 8 divided by 2. So they calculate the 13 plus 8 divided by 2, multiply it by 7, and then the answer is 73.5. Let's go ahead and resize this. We'll make this a little bit smaller. How about if we make this height 8, or that, the height 6, We'll leave that particular at 8, and let's try this at 11. So now we've got a parallelogram, excuse me, a trapezoid, sorry. A trapezoid, looks like we lost our height of 5.9, made it to 6. Okay, so now we have a height of 6. That's what's going to get multiplied. We have one base, that's 11, another base, that's 8. Those two are added together and then divided by 2 to take the average of those two bases. It's multiplied by 6, and our answer is 57. Let's try one more. We'll pull this out. We'll make this 14. And we'll make the height 5. There we go. So now we have a height of 5. That's being multiplied by the sum of the two bases, 8 and 14, when they're divided by 2. So 14 plus 8 divided by 2 times 5 will equal 55 for this particular area. So now, let's go back to our problem here. We have a trapezoid here where the base is 12. We have another base that is 7. And we have a height that's 5. This height is 5. So let's put those numbers into our little formula here. We have the area is going to equal, one of the bases is 12, plus another base, which is 7. That's divided by 2, and our height is 5. That's going to get multiplied together. Let's go ahead and get the calculator. We'll clear out our entries. The first thing we do, of course, order of operations, 12 plus 7 equals 19. That is divided by 2, which equals 9.5, and that's multiplied by 5. So our answer is going to be 47.5 units. We're not sure what exactly this is, but it's in units squared. Again, let's take a look. We have the area is equal to 5, which is our height. We have 12, which is one of our bases. We have 7, which is our other base. We add those two together, that becomes 19 over 2, and that will be multiplied by 5.